Welcome, I'm Grace Ambrook, and this is the energy forecast for the moon cycle, new moon starting June 5 and going through to July 4 in the year 2016. There's a wonderful opportunity in this cycle to release some of the stress patterns and the pressure that we all feel under so much of the time in this fast-moving life. I have to laugh because in preparing for today's videoing, there's been a little bit of pressure build up with all those minor details that I love to get myself stuck around coming up. So I know I'm onto it because, and I am so looking forward to being able to release the pattern that I have around getting stuck in those details. And this cycle gives us this opportunity in a number of ways, which I'll run through. And probably the first is realizing that the universe itself does not want us to be under pressure, and that when we are under pressure, it's a really big disconnect from our intuitive sense and our intuitive source and our sense of power that we get from that. And when we're under pressure, we tend to allow that small mind to actually start making big decisions, and that's never good. You know, big decisions are a place where we go to and we drop into our intuitive aspect as well as our rational aspect, and the combination of both. But under pressure, the small mind goes, it's got to be done now, it's got to be done like this. So we lose the capacity to maintain that balance for ourselves. And in this cycle, we're also being asked to actually release the attachment to our ego. So the ego plays a fair part often in pressure patterns, because often we've adopted roles or stories or belief systems that mean that we have to do things this way, and it has to be done by us, and it has to be done now. So in this cycle, there's an opportunity to really reframe all this and become much more aligned into your intuitive aspect and co-creating with the universe. And as we co-create with the universe, our job is to actually be aware, to be aligned to our greatest potential, and to be ready to step in when the energies come together and the opportunities present themselves. And we have a great capacity to do this when we're not in a stress pattern. So one of the energies this month that's going to help you release these stress patterns is the beautiful rainbow obsidian crystal. Now, this beautiful one is just reflecting out the light of the heart, which is so my message, and symbolic in the sense that she's able to help us find the light that is present in the stress pattern. So, as with all things, there is light in the shadow. So meditating with rainbow obsidian is a very powerful thing to do this cycle. And while you're meditating with her, really encourage the inner voice to come through, to let the voice of light, let your intuitive voice speak with you and speak to you and speak through you. And most people are quite good at listening to it, but do they actually speak through it? And this is the opportunity for you to share your intuitive wisdoms and your intuitive knowing of best choice for you. So if it's not good for you, it's not good for anybody else either. So releasing that pressure valve around the need to keep it all going, and you are absolutely at the center. Well, the universe is at the center of everything, and being present to the universe and allowing the moon energy to lift your intuitive sense and place you in these situations in that space, seeing the bigger picture, not allowing the small mind to make big choices, but allowing the bigger universal mind and the universal energy to inform you. Great opportunity to sit in that space all through this cycle. A wonderful add-on from having become more aware of your strengths, which was the opportunity that we had in the last moon cycle. I know it was great. I found it really wonderful. It reframed a couple of my strengths that, in ways that make them, I guess, even stronger or probably more congruent, so that the energy alignment is stronger within me around what some of my strengths are. It was a wonderful month and such a beautiful progression this month in terms of knowing what your strengths are and now being able to release the stress patterns that are a major disconnect from those strengths. The other beautiful energy, I mean, the angels are always with us, of course, they're never not with us. But in sitting with what I was to share with you through this energy report, the angels have asked me to ask you to call on them specifically around releasing stress patterns that you create in your life. Everybody's ways of doing this are quite unique, and they're very creative from my work. I see how we manage to create these pressure pots for ourselves. And the angels have asked me to share with you that if you call to them, they will embrace you like the beautiful group of angels will come in and surround you and embrace you in their angel wings. And your job is to consciously release the pattern that puts you under the illusion of pressure. So call to the angels, ask them to embrace you in their angel wings, and in that field of love, your capacity to release the patterns that you create around pressure. Lift them off. Let the wings come into your energy and pick them up and lift those patterns up and away. It is an illusion of disconnection. So let them come in and just pick up your energy and move it away. Transform it back into love. Transform it back into you knowing from your larger intuitive knowing what is your responsibility and what is not your responsibility. And being able to communicate in a loving, strong way what is your responsibility and what is not your responsibility. So the other energy within this cycle is communication. And there are, the way that the vision comes to me is like there's keys, like little round circles, keys falling into our throat chakras, should we choose to accept them, that allow us to communicate more clearly and from a place of truth for yourself. So it's not about making judgments on others about whether they're doing their bit or not doing their bit, but rather a place from within yourself about what you're choosing and what you feel is your greatest contribution within particular situations, and therefore dispersing the energy of responsibility, or dispersing the, sharing the workload that comes up in any situation. And to do that, of course, there must be communication, because people cannot read your mind. They may, if you're a very capable person and you're used to doing all these things automatically, then quite often people don't realize that it's actually causing you so much stress. So there's a need for you to communicate that in a loving way, that you're doing a reassessment of what your priorities are, what your choices are, and communicating that from a centered space within yourself. The final energy for this month, which was one of my very most favorites, and one that sometimes I'm good at and I'm not very good at other times, is the energy of celebration. So the more that you celebrate the great things that occurring in your life. And then the more that celebration energy can come to you. It's also like a completion sometimes of cycles that are happening. So it's lovely to celebrate the new moon, the new opportunities that come with the new moon. It's lovely to celebrate the full moon and the opportunities that happen with the full moon. So in the new moon we're building, and with the full moon we can begin to release and celebrate these opportunities. But on a more human level, it's about celebrating the good things in life, in your everyday. So at the end of the day, what can you celebrate about that day? What can you be kind to yourself about? So through the pressure, how did you come out of that? Celebrate that. I mean, you could have gone off at somebody, and because you are feeling under pressure, but you chose to not go off at somebody. Well, celebrate the fact that you had the largest of life, the bigness of consciousness, not to play into the dynamic that was playing out before you, and that celebrate that you chose to be the big person, to have the big consciousness around this, and bring some stability back into the situation. And celebrate that maybe the pressure got to you and you needed to stop the car and just cry your eyes out. Celebrate that, because you've come to the truth. It's there, it's in your face, it's running down your face. Celebrate that you are honest enough to get to that place. Celebrate that, because that is indeed what life is about. So, this month, to wrap it up, opportunity to release the patterns around those things which are creating pressure around us. Great. The help that we get from that is being embraced in the wings of the angels and allowing them to lift off these patterns, of listening to your inner voice so that you grow in awareness and consciousness around the changes that you need to make in co-creation. Using the beautiful energy of the rainbow obsidian to find light in the shadow, and celebrate your acknowledgement of light in your day, every day. Enjoy this month, and I look forward to talking to you on July 4. Bye for now. I'm Grace Ambrook of www.heartsoulexpansion.com.